MMA referees have a pretty hard job, don't they? Fighting is one of the most chaotic sports, and just about anything can happen.
He's going for the rear naked choke on Brandon Gallows.
Often, MMA refs don't just have to worry about keeping order, they also have to be prepared for fighters who might get pissed off with the result, confused about where they are, or even overexcited. And then, you just never know what they might do next. So, let's take a look at some of the craziest times MMA fighters have gone after referees. I've never been a referee, but if there's one place you probably would want to worry about being one is in an abandoned factory at a place called Fight Club Moscow. But this show was actually a charity kickboxing event. A guy most MMA fans would be surprised to see there though is Viacheslav Datsik. If you've never heard of him, he is notorious in MMA for being one of the craziest fighters ever. He's been DQ'd multiple times, but here he was, going up against a complete novice in what I can only imagine was some kind of influencer exhibition. In this case though, the influencer in there with Datsik clearly couldn't fight at all, and so Viacheslav just starts messing around with him. Eventually though, things get out of hand after Datsik pretends to be hurt. Of course, Datsik ends up double-legging the ref up and out of the ring. Absolute madness at a charity event. But what do you expect when you invite this guy? It's one thing for something like this to happen in the middle of nowhere in Russia, but how about in the UFC? Well, yes, and not surprisingly, it involved one of the most hot-headed guys of all time, Phil Baroni. If you don't know him, Phil Baroni was a bit of a berserker when it came to MMA. He was quite a hothead who talked a lot of trash.
I'm gonna smash him, I'm gonna smash him. I guess I didn't beat him down bad enough the first time.
When he got angry at the ref though, live on a UFC pay-per-view, it actually took Dana White of all people to calm him down. For the first 10 minutes at UFC 45, he smashed up Evan Tanner pretty badly. The beating continued, and it looked like Baroni was about to win, but the ref stopped the fight instead to check a cut on Tanner.
They're gonna check the cut under Evan Tanner's left eye. Evan Tanner is walking around in a daze.
The fact that the fight was nearly over and Evan got a break was enough to piss off Baroni, but how the fight finished is why he went after the ref. In the third round, Evan comes back into the fight and with 30 seconds left is dropping bombs on Phil when the referee asks him if he wants out and then stops the fight. Phil complained the ref shouldn't have stopped it, so that's when he tried to punch him. Baroni's rampage continued until Dana White himself who shouted at him. At least in this case, Phil was so exhausted he could barely throw a punch at the ref anyway. Even if it did happen in the UFC, it could have been much worse, just like what Gilbert Yvel did to the ref over in Finland. Now at this point in the long career of the Dutch kickboxer turned MMA fighter Gilbert Yvel, he already had several KOs and several DQ losses on his record. As Yvel tells the story, he was invited to a small MMA event, Fight Festival 12 in Finland, as kind of more like a favor to help make the show bigger. Apparently, the opponent he was given was trained by the promoter, and the same promoter was also going to be the referee. You can see where this one is going. This referee kept stopping the fight and shouting at Gilbert. Eventually, he just had enough.
Hoorde ik in één keer zo'n evil Yvel die zei, ik ga hem slaan. Bam, gaf ik er een. Ik dacht, oh, wat doe je nou? Ja, fuck it, hier nog een beetje. Toen gaf ik hem nog een trap.
Yeah, a little bit more to this one than just a ref making a mistake, but Yvel still absolutely crushed him and seems to not really mind.
En ik lachte niet om.
Gilbert Yvel is not a man you want to upset, but I think most people would agree though, he maybe went too far, kind of like this next guy, Takeo Shiina. Not entirely sure what the bad blood was between Takeo Shiina and Hyun, but you can tell even before this one started, they do not like each other. This all went down at Grachan 5 in Japan, and from the opening bell, all these guys were trying to do was hurt each other. As soon as Takeo landed one good shot though, he seems to forget all the rules of the sport, and when the ref steps in to help, it doesn't end well. This one was absolute chaos, and Shiina did not want to stop until everyone in the cage was apparently unconscious. This ref ended up on the floor half unconscious. Talk about a bad night for that guy. I guess Takeo really didn't like his opponent, but leave the poor ref alone for goodness sake. Speaking of that actually, I'm sure you'll remember a time Conor McGregor also got a bit overexcited, and he of course went after the referee as well. It's not that often that a promotion like Bellator makes the trip over to Dublin, Ireland, but of course, they were trying to promote one of their own new talents, Conor McGregor's teammate Charlie Ward, and it kind of all massively backfired. This was kind of the first domino in a string of bad behavior from Conor McGregor that leads to where we are today. His teammate, Charlie Ward, had put a pace on John Redmond and sent the crowd into a frenzy as he finished him. Conor, ignoring basically every safety rule, immediately jumped into the cage to celebrate the victory with him, something referee Mark Goddard was not just going to allow. Fun fact, no one else is allowed in the cage at all until the doctors have gone in and looked at both fighters. But Conor wanted to celebrate with his teammate, so he ran up and went after Mark.
And look who's in to celebrate with him, the notorious one! Wow, Conor McGregor trying to go at the referee!
It's bad enough he was also nearly trending on a guy who just got knocked out, but this could have turned into an all-out brawl. He even came back late to have another got at Goddard. Like I said, it's a hard job, but at least Mark didn't need to manhandle McGregor, not unlike fellow British referee Leon Roberts, who had to use his jiu-jitsu skills at a Fight UK show. I'm sure you've never heard of Fight UK. It's just one of many regional shows, and usually those are where the most carnage happens. Two men, Frederick and Aswad, were squaring off to fight, and we've got UFC veteran referee Leon Roberts ready to keep order. And these two men went at it with a pretty high place to start.
Loves going out there and throwing bombs, and we're seeing that early. Aswad, another guy we've seen before, great wrestling, good takedowns. You've got to think that's got to be the strategy. With a man like Matthias, Frederick pounding those leg kicks in, and there it is.
Frederick manages to land an amazing kill shot, but once he's on top, it takes all Leon Roberts to physically stop him from continuing to throw punches. Leon then immediately teleports to this guy's back and locks in the rear naked choke. Honestly, super impressive from Roberts. That's proof right there, as a referee, that you need some Brazilian jiu-jitsu you can pull out in a crisis. Unfortunately, though, over in one championship, I don't think anyone told their referees. There's a pretty high standard of MMA over in one championship, and that also comes with some good referees as well. And everything at 1 TNT 2 was going great, with Zoltsetseg and Ma banging back and forth and having a technical slugfest. After a whole 60 seconds of trying to take each other's heads off, a kill shot lands, but when the ref jumps in to stop the fight, he was not ready for what came next. Considering this fighter just had his bell rung, that was an incredibly quick submission, and the poor ref has no choice but to tap as fast as possible. I mean, that guy might as well be having a nightmare trying to leg lock his sleep paralysis demon. He was not letting go of that leg. Thankfully, he did let go eventually, and was probably grateful the ref stopped the fight when he did. That was not the case for Willi. When the ref stopped his fight, he was so pissed he started throwing punches. You never quite know what is going to happen at a local MMA show. There are a lot of variables. But two big power punchers, Willi and Nasufovic, showed up and were going at each other at a show in Germany, with Willi mainly beating up his opponent. Ott, though, kind of ran out of gas and found himself in a really bad spot, and ends up desperately tapping out. Turns out, he was really pissed that the ref didn't help him out sooner. Maybe Ott panicked a bit. His arm is just kind of flailing about. Not that surprising the ref didn't really see the tap. I guess when you're dealing with two fighters in a cage in front of a screaming audience, all you can do as a ref is show up, Put your gloves on and pray that everyone just follows the rules this time.